Won't blaze up. Come on, blaze up.
It's a beat for me.
Wah 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live. For your boy, for your boy, for your boy. Also for your boy, fix it for your boy. Drop it for your wah 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 wah. Lift it up.
Good morning, y'all. Get in here. I'm smiling. I probably shouldn't be for the topic that we're talking about. But we're here. Shout out to everybody in the building. You guys get the likes up. I'm coming here today. I normally don't come live on Saturdays, especially Saturday morning on this channel. I will be going live at the Dollhouse in probably like 30 minutes, 45 minutes after I get off of this live. But I want to come over here because y'all know I like to keep my subjects and my content separate. But I wanted to come over here because there are two things. Number one, I did see the video because we were talking about this on the live yesterday for the Morning Joes of the co-pilot, the alleged co-pilot who was allegedly the one who blew up the doggone, or who was driving or piloting, not driving, but piloting the helicopter. There is a video. There's two videos. We're going to get into it. And then and I have some questions about some stuff over there. And then we're also going to talk about this Philadelphia medical plane just crashes into the ground in Philadelphia. My question is it possible that America is under attack? Because people don't understand that planes don't just fall out of the sky every day. They just don't. Especially in America 2 days in a row. That just normally don't go like that, okay? So we're going to discuss all that stuff. They had 6 people unalive in the crash in Philadelphia that they know of now, because if you understand plane crashes, when a plane hits the ground, a large area is affected, okay? But nevertheless, we're going to get into all of that. So y'all get in here and get the likes up. What was I about to grab? I ain't worried about it. So let's start with the DC plane crash. I know a lot of people are hip to this, or if you're not, a plane ends up crashing in DC yesterday. A helicopter flew into a plane crash. As I spoke to y'all yesterday, I told y'all, and experts are saying this now, but I told you guys that the air traffic control people should have seen and could have, not would have, or could have done things to prevent those people from being unalive. I'm not saying that it would have been successful, but there are things in place that make sure things like that can be taken under control or avoided, okay? So, with that being said, one of the co-pilots, remember, we still don't know who the co-pilot, who the actual pilot was. But one of the co-pilots that was named in this situation was a transgender woman named Jo Ellis, who is a Virginia National Guardsman, who is a warrant officer. Let me also be clear with this. A lot of people don't understand. So in order to be a pilot in the military, you have to be an officer, okay? You have to go to college, you have to go to special training. For any type of officer in the military, you have to have a college education, and you have to go through all type of schools and stuff, okay? A warrant officer, though, a warrant officer is not the same as an officer. Officers are captains, majors, colonels, lieutenant colonels, lieutenants. In order to be an officer, lieutenant colonel, major, captain, colonel, you have to go through college, and then there's specialized training you go through. To be a warrant officer, that is just simply a promotion. So it's like you not an officer, but you have a warrant officer position. So you're kind of like a little bit above the enlisted, okay? If it makes sense. So Jo Ellis was a warrant officer, which would make sense as to why she was simply a co-pilot and not a pilot. because an actual pilot would have to be an actual officer. Do you get it? I hope I'm making sense. Sometimes I have troubles explaining stuff sometimes. Okay, so the part that bothers me about this entire situation is we still don't have all the details on this military helicopter. And if nobody don't see that this is a problem, then we are doomed. We are getting very small pieces of information, right? And remind you, the military is its own federal entity, okay? So let's really be clear about that. This little piece that I cut really messing with me. But anyway, what was I going? Oh, yeah. So the fact that we're not getting details about this stuff, but it's just plastered all over the news is really making me nervous. And I'm starting to think we're under attack. But before we get into that piece, I want to play the first video of Joe Ellis, who got on here and said that that was not her. She said that whoever's saying that is a lie and the truth ain't in them. Now, apparently, this started from... I'm trying to pause this video because I got another video playing too. Apparently, this rumor started on Twitter. Somebody on Twitter started this rumor and it broke like wildfire. Okay. And this is the thing about algorithms. So that rumor got pushed out there through the algorithm, but the response video wasn't, because I had to go look for it to find it. Like it wasn't in the timeline. It wasn't even under the hashtags. It wasn't trending. None of that. Again, social media is still media. Okay. Now, Joe Ellis has come out and said that she wasn't that pilot. I got 2 videos on her. She went on CNN last night too. But I find it odd that we couldn't find, the video wasn't as easily accessible as all the news. Okay. Now let's get into Joe Ellis's video saying that she was not in fact the pilot who was on the Virginia helicopter. Okay. Y'all please get the likes up so the people know we around here. Joe said to come over here and give y'all this information to correct the information that I posted or that I reported on yesterday, because I did on yesterday say it was her because that was the rumor and that was what was in the news. However, after seeing this, I'm coming back to update you guys and say that was not true. It actually wasn't her, because here is a video. Okay. Now, this doesn't mean case closed. This makes me ask way more questions, but we're going to get into her first video of her saying this is not her, or she was not the person in that plane. Y'all get the likes up.
Interesting morning. This is Joe Ellis. I am a Black Hawk pilot with the Virginia Army National Guard. I understand some people have associated me with the crash in DC, and that is false. It is insulting to the families to try to tie this to some sort of political agenda. They don't deserve that. I don't deserve this. And I hope that you all know that I'm alive and well, and this should be sufficient for you all to end all the rumors. I also have a statement. The Department of Defense is responsible for casualty notifications. There were no Virginia National Guard personnel on that Black Hawk that collided with the jetliner Wednesday evening. Thank you.
Okay.
Interesting morning.
So that's Joe Ellis saying it was not me. I don't know who made that up. Yes, that's a TS. It's a TS. It's a transgender woman. Okay. So Joe Ellis is saying that's not me. I was not on that plane. And it's kind of messed up that y'all would tie this to some sort of political agenda. And I agree. I do agree that it will be messed up to tie any of this to political agendas, but honestly, politics is interweaved in it because a lot of this stuff has a lot to do with it. Now, this is a question that I have. I have a few questions, but here's one of the questions. Joe Ellis, at the end of this, said she read a statement from the Department of Defense, the DOD. Now, I'm not sure if that was an official statement. I'm not sure what it was, but what I do know is the Department of the Defense, unless she was just doing this on her own, but the Department of Defense would not have an official statement read by a co-pilot warrant officer. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Just throwing that out there. So I found that to be interesting. Unless, like I said, Joe Ellis just found this statement and read it on her own, then whatever. But neither here nor there. That's the first video of Joe Ellis saying it was not her. Now I want to take you guys to this other video. There's another video where she went on CNN, and she goes on CNN and she, I guess, talks about how it was not her in the helicopter and things of that nature, and how it felt to be accused of such things. Now, let me just say this. This opens up a bigger can of worms, because if it wasn't Joe Ellis and it wasn't the Virginia helicopter, then who and what was it? Pay attention. Y'all get the likes up.
A story of how caught in the ensuing crossfire was an American soldier, Joe Ellis. She's a service member who has dedicated her life to defending this country. Spent 15 years in the Virginia Army National Guard, is a chief warrant officer, a combat gunner, a UH-60 Black Hawk pilot.
The other person was not a pilot. The 28-year-old was a crew chief. A crew chief is the person who works on the plane. He's the mechanic for the plane. And that person, that's the only person allegedly that we know for a fact was on the doggone helicopter. The pilot and co-pilot, we don't know what's going on. And then this is another thing too. If it wasn't a Virginia Guard helicopter, then who was the crew chief? What unit? Like, this is something going on. I'm telling y'all, something is going on. And we going conspiracy theory today, because the real so-called facts ain't making no sense to me. Because if the 28-year-old was all plastered over the news saying he was the one on the plane from the Virginia National Guard, and then they come on here saying that wasn't us, then who was on the plane, and whose plane was it? Whose helicopter was it? I'm glad you asked that, Dejanee, because this is ridiculous. This is actually sad, bro. It's something going on. Let's get back into it. I'm sorry, y'all.
Joe is deployed to Iraq, Guatemala, and Kuwait. She's also a transgender woman who transitioned while in service and coincidentally once worked as the digital media manager for Smerconish.com. Now, go back to Monday. On Monday, President Trump signed an executive order directing newly confirmed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to implement a policy to come up with the means to preclude transgender personnel from the U.S. military, arguing that being transgender is not consistent with military ideals. When I read that, I invited Joe to be a guest on my SiriusXM radio program. On Tuesday, she wrote a moving piece about her experience. We published it on my website.
Can I say this as well, too, really quickly? Should I even touch that? Lord have mercy. Never mind. Something telling me don't touch it, I ain't gonna touch it. We're gonna move on.
And then on Wednesday, she joined me for a national radio interview on SiriusXM. It was that night that the tragedy occurred on the Potomac. And by Thursday night and Friday morning, Joe Ellis was falsely accused of piloting the Black Hawk helicopter that collided with the American Airlines jet. And then absolutely horrific headlines like this. Offensive, conspiracy-fueled tweets ensued that went viral. Joe Ellis was the #2 most trending topic in the United States on X late Friday morning with more than 90,000 posts, according to Trends24, a website that tracks trending topics. I suspect the visibility that came from the radio interview, along with the article we published at Smerconish.com, put Joe's name in play such that she became an easy target for some of the twisted voice.
Oh, really quickly? Yes, you do have to go to school once you're promoted or selected to be a warrant officer, but it's not the same as a real officer. And I'm not calling it a real, but it's not the same as a lieutenant, a colonel, you know what I mean? So yes, we're both right. I'm not incorrect. I'm not saying they don't have to go to no training, because they do. What I'm saying is a warrant officer is not an full officer. It's just an officer who gets promoted or gets selected, really. It's a selection of an enlisted person that they put in the place of a warrant officer. It's the go-between between enlisted and the actual officer, okay? That's what that means. So, Yeah, so I'm not saying they don't have to go to training. So if I made it seem like that, then my apologies. That's not what I meant. But to be an officer, you have to go to college, and there's special different training, special training that you go to through the military in order to complete that process. And then there's another school in training you go to be a warrant officer. But even still, a warrant officer is not an officer, if that makes sense. So yeah, that makes sense. Well, Steve Urkel, you got to understand, in the military right now, you have anything over E. I don't know if you know this, but I just want to share this with you. Anything over E6, you have to have college to be promoted in the military, 2025. So having college to be a warrant officer, it will be right on brand, because if you want to make anything over E6 in the military in 2025, you have to go to college. You have to have some college degree under your belt, whether it's an associate's, rather it's a what do you call it? A bachelor's, a master. You have to be promoted over E6. The military goes up to E9. In order to be promoted over E6, you have to have college. So of course you'll have to have college to be a warrant officer. But for a long time, when they first introduced the program, you didn't have to have college. I did the history on actually that whole military thing with the warrant officers and all that stuff, because they were back in the day, officers didn't even have to go to college unless they were being a doctor or a pilot or something like that. So yeah. But no, yeah, we kind of saying the same thing, but everybody in the military that's E6 and want to get to E7 on above, you got to go to college. Okay. All right, let's move on. It's not a tongue wrestling contest. Let's move on. Let's get back to the video.
That have outsized influence online. Joe became collateral damage, linked, blamed via high-speed internet to a tragedy with which she had nothing to do. Collateral in the president's unfounded theories and attempt to divert attention away from real conversations about who's going to lead our country and what truly happened in the crash. And now she'll forever represent a cautionary tale of how the combination of loose talk and trigger fingers on keypads can sully a person's reputation and subject them to online ridicule, scorn, and threats. Joining me now is Joe Ellis. Nice to see you, Joe. How did this all happen from your perspective? Where were you? What were you doing when you found that you were being blamed for the Washington catastrophe?
Thank you for having me, Michael. I want to reiterate that I'm speaking in a personal status, not representing the National Guard, U.S. Army, or Department of Defense. My heart goes out to the families of the victims, and they don't deserve these rumors. I learned of this at 4:30 a.m. Friday morning from a text message of a close friend that a bot account was commenting on his Facebook post, asking if he knew Joe Ellis, who killed those people in the DC crash.
Hold on.
Then someone sent me a link to a Pakistani newspaper article.
Wait a minute. This is crazy. She said her friend woke up at 4:30 and hit her up and said, hey, a bot account. Listen, a bot account hit her friend, a bot. This is not a person. And said, hey, do you know Joe Ellis? Again, when I be telling y'all, bots be on these social sites doing a whole bunch of stuff, people be thinking I'm crazy. A bot account hit her friend and was like, yo, do you know Joe Ellis? Because this was my other thing too. What made them pick Joe Ellis? Of all the people in what made them pick Joe Ellis? But that's very, very interesting that Joe Ellis said that a bot account hit her friend and was like, yo, do you know who Joe Ellis is? That's crazy. I'm gonna let her finish though, because it's almost done.
Article naming me in the crash. And then I received a Daily Mail phone call asking if I was alive and if I knew what was happening to me.
What sort of threats, what sort of ridicule, what sort of pain have you been put through as a result of this process?
Well, Michael, I was not surprised by the hate. This is my reality. And now that I'm more visible, more comes. The false claims put me and my family at risk. I was surprised by the outpouring of love and support, though, from strangers all over the world sending me messages. And I believe love shines brighter than hate.
These videos obtained typically by CNN.
So there's that. Let me say this with this Joe Ellis thing. Joe Ellis has just said that a bot account hit her friend and was like, yo, do you know Joe Ellis? Because they out here saying that Joe Ellis was the pilot in that helicopter. This is my question. Number one, why would a bot account and how would they find your, like, it's just so many questions. And then, of course, here comes the internet making it about the gender when it is about the gender, the transgenderism, but it's about something way bigger than that. Because remember, I told y'all the ridicule and the BS is coming from both sides, both the left and the right. It's not just the left, it's the left and the right. So it would make sense for somebody or something on the right to put out the narrative that it's a TS because that's tied directly to what? DEI. That's what Trump literally just crossed out of the whole thing, right? Now, again, that story that was the co-pilot went extremely viral. I'm talking about I had to go search Twitter to find the video because you know, when I got off of here, somebody sent me the Facebook page and I was like, this is just a Facebook page. So I was like, let me do my due diligence and let me go look for myself. And I searched Joe Ellis and all of the news that Joe Ellis was the pilot, that was all there. But when I couldn't find a video or no video of Joe Ellis saying I wasn't the thing. So at first I was going to be like, man, whatever. But then something said no, because I know how to trick the algorithm when I'm searching for stuff. So I typed in Joe Ellis, not pilot. And if the first doggone video popped up was this one. Now, let me say this. The fact that a bot was involved should have everybody in here scratching their head. Okay? The facts are this. We are at a very, very critical time in America right now. This is not random things happening. It wasn't random that Joe Ellis was used. It wasn't random that helicopter flew into that doggone plane. It's none of this is random. None of these are coincidences. This is all calculated, in my opinion. I believe this is all calculated things that is put in place on purpose, okay? Now, mind you, they need to keep us distracted and in chaos in order to keep us from looking at what's really going on, okay? And that's just because that's what these are. They are distractions, but the distractions are real. They need us scatterbrained on everything else so we don't really pay attention to what is going on, okay? And I think that should say a whole lot to a lot of people on here because this is crazy. We still to this day, if Joe Ellis wasn't the pilot, then who were the pilots? Whose helicopter was it? My theory, this is my theory. My theory is we could possibly be in possibly conspiracy theory. Let me just say that too. This is all a conspiracy theory. But we on conspiracy theory time anyway. It's possible that this right here is a cyber war. And let me say why I say that. Because we already know that outside entities have the ability to tap into our systems. We know that. Anybody on here who don't know that, now you know. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a fact. The government talks about how they've been tapping into our system since the beginning of time. Okay? So, it's possible that some outside entity, I'm not going to say which country or none of that, could possibly have been tapping into these aircraft because remember, they're all ran by what? Computers. I told y'all this before. Pilots, once the plane reaches a certain altitude, pilots don't fly the plane. The computer flies the plane. I've been telling y'all that since the beginning. People be thinking I'm crazy. When a pilot's job is to steer for the most part, because a lot of times they ain't even doing that. But make sure the plane, they're basically watching the plane operate. And their job is to take off and land. That's it. Okay? It's not like when you get in your car and you need to go somewhere, you put it in the GPS and then you drive yourself there. No, the GPS system in the plane, the GPS flies the plane where the plane goes. Pilots don't know the routes, okay? For the most part. So with that being said, it's possible that something could be thought, just hear me out. It's possible that we could be in the midst of a cyber war. In my opinion, this is what I believe. I believe there was a biochemical war in 2020. Take that information and do with it as you please. Okay? I believe, I don't know this to be a fact. This is just me talking crazy. But I believe we were in a biochemical war in 2020. And I believe now we're on the cusp of a cyber war. And if you know anything about wars, wars last for years. It's not like when you see it on TV and on the movie. See, on the movie, it make you feel like they go to war, they be out there for about a month or two, and then it's all over. No. Wars last for years. All wars last for years, okay? So, with that being said, something in the milk ain't clean, because if it wasn't Joe Ellis, then who and what was it? Okay? Now, let's get into Philadelphia. So, apparently, this was, when did the plane crash in Potomac? A couple days ago? Now, last night when we was on live, somebody was telling me this during Educational Friday. They like, Voo, a plane just crashed into Philadelphia. And I'm like, what? But I didn't want to do too much because I'm like, I need to stay focused on what I'm doing. I try to stay focused on my Educational Friday stuff. But I did say what I would do is when I get off this doggone live, I'm going to go check it out for myself. And I did just that. Now, ever since last night, they just did a press conference. I got the TV on right here with the mayor and the governor and all that stuff. And what happened was it was 6 people unalive in a medical aircraft that just crashed to the ground. A medical jet carrying 6 people, one of which was a child. From what I'm hearing, allegedly. Everything got to be alleged because we are being even tricked with social media, okay? All right, so let me share this tab. Give me 1 second. Y'all get the likes up on the video, please. Please like the video. Let me read some of these super chats too. London, thank you for the super chat. London said, thank you for the heart. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let me make it bigger. And Miss Parker, thank you for the super chat. I believe America is under attack. The hurricane was a test run. The fires are at least are a test run. Mm-hmm. Do you have enough supplies to provide for your family? For your family for weeks with no power or food? Civil war. I believe that too, because we on what they call not celebrities. We're on what they call conspiracy theories right now. So I agree with that 1,000%. Something is going on, and if y'all are not prepared, then I don't know what to tell y'all. You need to start getting prepared. Y'all just seen how they wiped all the stores with them eggs and stuff. Okay. All right. So now let's get on the Philadelphia thing. So a medical jet carrying 6 people crashes in Philadelphia, setting homes on fire. I told y'all when airplanes crash, it affects a large, vast area. It's not like it just falls and it's just in the street. It's a whole lot of people. It's a whole lot of area. Now, I'm wondering if people were in their homes when this jet crashed. How many people were unalive from the homes? They only telling y'all about the 6 that was on the jet. Who else was affected by this aircraft, okay? It says Jet Rescue Air Ambulance said it could not confirm any survivors aboard the plane that went down near Roosevelt Mall. Let me help you, Fat. Ain't nobody survived it. Unless they parachuted up out of there before that plane hit that ground, ain't nobody survived it. 6 Mexican nationals on board. Here we go. A medical transport plane died after it crashed into a northeast Philadelphia neighborhood on Friday evening. Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, said, they just happen to be Mexicans, huh? The half dozen killed included a child patient receiving care in Philadelphia, her mother, and 4 others, including crew members. The plane, which crashed a mere 30 seconds after takeoff, erupted into a fireball and set several homes ablaze, injuring at least 6 people on the ground. I mourn the passing of 6 Mexicans in the aviation accident in Philadelphia, United States. It says Sheinbaum said in a Spanish language post on X. Consular authorities are in constant contact with the families. I've asked the Foreign Affairs Secretary to support whatever is needed. My solidarity with their loved ones and friends. We cannot confirm any survivors, said a statement from Jet Rescue Air Ambulance, which operates the Learjet 55. Our immediate concern is for the patient's family, our personnel, their families, and other victims that may have been hurt on the ground. Shy Gold, a spokesperson for Jet Rescue, spoke to a local NBC affiliate about the people on board the plane. The pediatric patient, a girl, was returning to Tijuana, Mexico. The others on the plane included her mother, a pilot, a co-pilot, a doctor, and a paramedic, Gold said. All I can say is the patient was sponsored by a third-party charity to undergo life-saving treatments in the U.S., Gold said. She did her course of care. She was going home. She fought quite a lot to survive, and unfortunately, this tragedy is on the way home. All 6 people were aboard from Mexico. All 6 people aboard were from Mexico, according to reports, and the plane was registered there. Police said it was on a medical assignment. It was the second fatal crash in 15 months for Jet Rescue. In 2023, 5 crew members were killed when their plane overran a runway in the central Mexican state of Morelos and crashed into a hillside. The Philadelphia crash happened less than 3 miles from Northeast Philadelphia Airport, which primarily serves business jets and charter flights. It came 2 days after a commercial airliner collided with a military helicopter near Reagan Washington National Airport outside of Washington, killing all 67 aboard the aircraft. Pilots taken at the crash site appear to show homes on fire. Photos. Fire officials have confirmed that multiple structures were on fire following the crash around 6 p.m. Eastern in the area of the Cotman Avenue and Roosevelt Boulevard. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, released a statement about 6:40 confirming the crash plane was a Learjet 55 and had initially said 2 people were on board. The agency later changed that assessment to confirm that 6 people were involved. Sean Duffy, the U.S. Secretary of the Transportation, had said there were at least 6 people on board. You know what bothers me about them? It was 2 people. It was 4 people. There's a thing called a flight log. Let me hip y'all to this because they full of crap. There's this thing called a flight log. A flight log is what it basically holds who's on the aircraft every time that aircraft takes off or land. On said flight log, they know how many and who is on this plane. So how is it that, oh, it's 2. Oh, no, it's 4. Oh, no, it's 6. These people are playing in your face. Jesus Christ. But the majority of America don't know these things. They know who are on these. You can't just get on a plane and don't nobody know about it. Unless you sneak on it in the doggone cargo area or something like that. They know who on these planes and they know how many people are on these planes. So why are they? And yes, that's a thing too. I'm glad you said that as well. Let me see. Somebody said they'd be lying on the flight logs. Yes, they do that. However, listen, that's the true statement. They definitely do lie on flight logs. And typically it's because people are illegally getting transported somewhere, whether it's for like citizenship or rather it's for like you just trying to get a ride to go here and you don't want to be on the flight log. You know what I mean? Type T. So yes, that is a thing. But for the most part, they know who's on those flights. And this was a medical jet. I doubt somebody was sneaking into Mexico. Now, they probably lied on the flight log coming here. It would make sense. But I highly doubt that, it would be inaccurate. But who knows? Because they do lie on flight logs. But I highly doubt that possibly, who knows, that somebody was on there sneaking on the way back. But this is the thing. For the most part, though, you know who's on the plane. You know who the pilot, the co-pilot, and the passengers are. For the most part. Okay? Yeah, I saw that. Say that again. Just like they found them 2 boys. I saw that. Them fools done. These 2, wasn't they from somewhere else? That done doggone jumped on the doggone plane in the doggone landing gear. They should have asked me, "You're gonna die." Are you dumb? Yeah. 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 These fools done jumped inside the doggone landing gear where the wheels at and thought they was going to survive. Oh, man, you got to understand. Let's move on. Yeah, they were from the DR. They were from the DR. Man, them people crazy. Let's move on. So anyway, I'm saying all to say the fact that they're on here saying, well, we don't know. It was 2 people. No. The flight log tells them who's on that plane. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Back to this thing. Girl, they lying about these flight logs though. So it says the FAA statement said the plane had been en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. The FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board would investigate, it said. Now, this was an article as of last night. Flight data showed a small jet taking off from airport at 6:06 p.m. and disappearing from radar about 30 seconds later after climbing to an altitude of 1,600 feet. It says it was unclear what led to the crash. The plane was a medical transport jet and was registered to a company operating as MedJets. State and local officials said late on Friday they would not confirm how many people might have died on the ground after the plane slammed into the heavily populated portion of the city. Injuries have been reported, police said. Pennsylvania's governor, Josh Shapiro, told a press conference at the crash scene that we know there will be loss in this region. We want to offer our thoughts and our serious prayers for those that are grieving at this moment. Let me ask y'all a question. Is that a heavily Black populated area in Philly? I don't know who's on here from Philly or who's familiar with that area of Philadelphia. But what I'm asking is that a heavily populated Black area? No? Okay. Gotcha. I'm just asking because it's been some crazy stuff going on. Okay. Mixed. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. It says, I want to scroll down. It says, let me scroll down. The plane crashed in a busy intersection near Roosevelt Mall, an outdoor shopping center where afterwards first responders were blocking traffic and onlookers crowded onto the street corner in the residential neighborhood of Ronhurst. Philadelphia's emergency management offices said roads were closed in that area. On cell phone video taken by a witness moments after the plane crash showed a chaotic scene with debris scattered across the intersection. That's another thing. Debris can kill you too. Just so you know, a wall of orange glow just beyond the intersection as a plume of black smoke quickly rose into the sky, while some witnesses could be heard crying and sirens blared. Jet Rescue, according to its website, is a licensed and insured company that has more than 20 years of experience providing critical care ambulance services from Mexico, Latin America, and Caribbean to the U.S. and Canada. Friday's incident took place merely 2 days after the U.S. suffered the deadliest air disaster in a generation. And American Airlines jet, we already know about that. All right, let me say this. I want to show y'all some video of that crash. Get into it.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
This is crazy. Do y'all see how these cars are passing? Wow. This is crazy.
Yeah, man. She's still hanging. Déjale comer a los Yeah, man.
Now with this video, I saw somebody ask, how is it that he turned around before the plane crashed? You do know that makes a noise when a plane falls out of the sky. You do know that, right? It's not a quiet thing and then all of a sudden there's a boom. When a heavy piece of metal falls out of the sky, you're going to hear it before it hits the ground. You may not know what it is, but you're going to hear it. It's a loud boom like that. Right. So that's how he was able to turn around, as you can see, before it hits the ground, because he heard it. Okay. Yeah, it's not like the movies. Everything ain't like the movies.
Yeah, she's still hanging. Déjale comer a los
Y'all heard it? Look.
Déjale comer a los
You heard it?
Déjale comer a los
So you can hear it. You can definitely hear it before it hits the ground. All right, there's some other footage people got. I went and got a whole bunch of footage. I was just retweeting because I knew I was coming back today to talk about it. Now, this one doesn't have sound, but look, fire everywhere, because when a plane crashes, right, it affects a large selection or a large place of time, a large area, a vast area. It's not just a one little area place. Now, like I said, I think y'all, I believe this. I don't care what y'all say. We are under attack. That's what I believe. It says there are bodies all over Cotman Avenue parking lot. Stay away. Wow. And this is another thing. They ain't giving us no information on how many bodies. Who, you know what I'm saying? That's what I believe. That's what I believe. I got some more footage. Hold on. This is crazy, bro.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Can I share a coincidence with y'all? Philly going to the Super Bowl, right? This is a conspiracy theory. In New Orleans, where the Arab dude ran down Bourbon Street and unalived a whole bunch of people. Mind you, that happened and we ain't heard nothing else about that. And then, DC had the whole thing going on where the plane just ran in, the helicopter just ran into American Airlines aircraft. The numbers are numbering 6 people, 6:06 p.m. You know what I'm saying? Or 6:18 or whatever it was. It's all seeming very strategic. It's not seeming coincidental, is what I'm saying. This does not seem like random things, okay? We think that, and the media will tell you, make it seem like, what? Oh, it sure did. It sure did, Jonathan. I didn't even think that. OMG. It sure did. These are not random situations happening here. None of this is random. So the Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, and the Philadelphia Eagles are going to the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Muslim man runs down Bourbon Street, unalive a bunch of people. We ain't heard nothing else about it ever since. Now, a plane leaves Kansas to come to DC and unalive, and the people get unalive, and then this plane crash happened in doggone Philly. This is crazy to me. Ooh, I didn't think about that too. And was heading back to Kansas. Girl, listen. Oh, let me make y'all laugh again. And then New Orleans had the largest amount of snow it has ever had in history. In history. I think it got up to 12 inches of snow in New Orleans. First of all, the fact that it was snowing in New Orleans was insane within itself. But then New Orleans got more snow than any other southern part of America who was getting snowed on. This is not a coincidence. This is nothing of a coincidence. This is a conspiracy theory. That's what this is. This ain't no coincidence. This ain't no coincidence. Whoo, child. Hold on. Let me show y'all something. I got some more video. And innocent people, civilians, are being hurt in all of these situations. Let me also say this. Let me get this back up here. Let me also say this. When countries go to war, the way to effectively see, it's like this. I'm trying to say a way to not get triggered, not trigger none of this stuff, and then also to be concise. Okay. So when you think of war, you think of what you see on TV, right? Hand-to-hand combat. You think of this side going to fight that side, and then they meet head up. Back in the day, and they had their swords, or they start popping each other from a far distance. That's what you think of when you think of war, but that's only one aspect of war. Another aspect of war is to affect the people of whatever nation or whatever, the land and the people of whatever people you're fighting, okay? In all of these coincidences, civilians, regular people are being harmed. With that being said, it's giving war tactics. Does that make sense? Because none of this is, it's so, I'm trying not to say too much, but say enough for y'all to understand what I'm saying. It's giving war tactics. That's all I'm gonna say. It's giving war tactics. That's all I'm gonna say. I got another video to show y'all. Hold on.
Oh God. Oh my God. Oh God.
Ridiculous. I don't know what is going on. Hold on, this is a good one too. Hold on. Look at this. Look at the people getting out their car. Girl, you better get your girl getting out the car. Girl. Okay. I couldn't see if they was black, but girl, you better get your ass back in that car. The hell wrong with you? What you getting out the car for? Girl, have you lost your mind? Get your out. If I'd have been behind her, I said, get your ass back in that car so I can get from around here, girl. The hell wrong with you? Nosy. I just went got buku footage, y'all, just so y'all can.
Oh shit.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Oh my God. Oh my God. La ilaha illallah. That's a plane, bro. That's a plane. I caught that on camera. Yo. Allahu Akbar. Yo. Oh my God. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah.
What are you saying?
La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah.
What is speaking?
La ilaha illallah.
Well, hold on, bro. What was that flag he was flying in there? Y'all seen that flag? Wasn't it like a Cuban or something? He had a flag flying in his car in the window. Can y'all see that? Let me see if I can see it. What that flag is?
That's a plane, bro.
Hold on.
That's a plane. I caught that on camera. Yo.
He praying to God? Oh, okay.
Yo. Allahu Akbar. Yo.
Okay.
Yo. Oh my God. La ilaha illallah. 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 Oh my God.
Oh, he close to where they still got fire on the street. Damn.
What the hell? Yo. Oh my God. Allahu Akbar.
They got body pieces on the ground. I'm not showing that on YouTube because I saw it last night. It's on my Twitter if you want to see it though. God damn. Look. Ooh.
Avenue, yo. I was right there, bro. What the fuck? Yo, somebody crit. Oh my God, yo, the world, yo. What the fuck?
Crashed right off the boulevard at Cotman Avenue. It's on fire. It's not under control. It looks like a side street.
A fucking plane just crashed on Cotman Avenue, yo. I was right there, bro. What the?
Let me tell y'all something. This ain't no coincidence. I believe we are under attack. I believe we are under attack. I don't know it to be a fact, but I believe we are definitely under attack. There was a press conference held when I was on here, so I'm pretty sure Twitter still has it. Let me go find it. But there was a press conference had by the mayor and the governor who were giving us updates. Now, they wouldn't give us updates last night on who, obviously, but they did try to give us certain type of little nuggets like, oh, we know that it's crashed site and we just want people to stay away and da 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 da. Okay, fine. Now, I also find it funny that all of these places have black mayors. Black mayors. You can't make this up. Hold on. You can't make this up. They all got black mayors talking, just like LA, just like New Orleans. This is crazy. Hold on. Get this off of here. I'm trying to find this. I probably could find it better on YouTube. But I do have, before I show y'all that anyway, I do have another thing to show y'all, a video that I have on this. Do I have the video? Oh, yeah, I do. Here it go. I want to show y'all this video about what happened, what the news is saying what happened, because you know how this goes.
Hi.
You should be used to this rodeo right here. But according to the news, this is what the news was saying.
Now, and on our breaking news conversation, we're joined now by Captain Ron Alvarado, a Marine and airline pilot. Captain, thank you so much for joining us tonight. First, another tragedy here in the United States of America involving a plane. Your reaction tonight to what you're hearing and what you're seeing here in Philadelphia.
Well, absolute shock. My thoughts and prayers go out to the pilots of the Learjet 55 and also the passengers on board, and especially the people on the ground and the citizens of Philadelphia. This is a traumatic experience. We just went through it down in Washington, D.C. So just a very, very shocking evening to hear about this unfortunate event.
We're being joined by Captain Ron Alvarado. You're watching Action News at 10 on PHL 17. We're also simulcasting on 6 ABC Action News. I'm Shari Williams alongside Gray Hall. Captain, is that the, yeah, Captain, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. And as Gray was alluding to about, you know, your initial reactions, is there something about this particular aircraft that you can share, this Learjet 55 that's being used for this medical assignment? Your familiarity with this type of assignments that this type of jet carries out?
Well, I've flown many corporate jets, helicopters, and now an Airbus 320, 321. What I do know about the Learjet, any Learjet, especially Learjet 55, is a high-performance corporate, medium to light corporate jet. So it's a very fast jet, very maneuverable, high performance. So as a pilot, you really have to be ahead of the aircraft. And I always say you have to think 200 miles ahead when flying an aircraft like this. So it's a very capable airframe. A lot of these aircraft are used for medevac or ambulance and air ambulance. And I believe this aircraft was transporting pediatric patient, parent, or somebody with the patient, some aircrew, and also the pilots. So this type of a mission can be very challenging because the days can be long. The regulations for this type of charter flight, it varies in between FAR 121, FAR 135, and 91. So were these pilots tired? We just don't know. Were they flying multiple legs? We just don't know. But it is a very challenging mission and flight flying an air ambulance.
Captain, thank you for that assessment. As we continue to watch the videos that pour into our newsroom and across social media, there are so many videos. It seems like this plane went down really quickly. We're told that it was in the air for about 30 seconds before it went down and crashed right in Northeast Philadelphia. How important will these videos be in assessing what happened as the investigators hit the ground and begin their research?
It's going to be critical to obtain all these videos. any transmissions coming from the aircraft, air traffic control. Every piece of information related to this event will be utilized. And I do know that NTSB investigators are on scene. I'm sure FAA, FBI, they will gather the data and hopefully find the computers aboard, the air data computers on board this Learjet 55. I'm not sure if it has a flight data recorder, but if it does, they will definitely be looking for that piece of equipment. What I do know about this aircraft was it did depart off of Northwest Philadelphia Airport, off of runway 24. That's a 7,000-foot runway. That's easily enough room for this Learjet 55 to take off from. And the impact, unfortunately, where the aircraft crashed, we're talking about 2 miles southwest of the airport. The instructions I heard from air traffic control to the pilots in this aircraft was after departure, turn right to heading 290. So that's 29 to the west, essentially, 290 degrees magnetic heading. They didn't do that. Looking at the map, looking at the runway, looking at the impact of the jet, where it came to the ground there, as we see on our screen, it was a straight trajectory. This event happened very fast. Typically, corporate jets, any high-performance jets, especially airliners, if they were told to turn at a certain heading after departure, they need to do that for the safety of the airspace that they're transiting and flying through. So the fact that this jet took off, it didn't make a right turn to that heading, I believe something was going on inside that aircraft, and we just don't know right now.
Thank you. Let me say this, because I was wondering where he was going with this. Oh, the air traffic controller told him to turn right, but he didn't turn right. No matter which way he would have turned, the plane shouldn't have fell out the sky. Okay? That's just that. Rather he turned right or left. Now, if he would have collided with another aircraft, then I would see why air traffic control telling him to turn was an issue. But the fact of the matter is, honey, this plane was in the air 30 seconds. You could still see the plane. Like I'm talking about you. If it 30 seconds after an airplane takes off, it looks like it's right there. The plane didn't even reach enough altitude to even do nothing before it fell out of the sky. This is another thing I want to say. They got black boxes, they got flight data recorders, they got all type of things for them to see what was happening on the inside of these planes, in that helicopter and in this one as well, okay? In this one as well. Why? I get it, an investigation has to take place. I'm not slow, so maybe they slow to put that out there, but I believe, this is what I believe, that these pilots probably because remember, I believe we're in a cyber war. What I believe is once these pilots are realizing they are losing control of these doggone jets, they probably in there saying, Mayday, 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 or they in there saying, what the hell? And before you know it, boom. But they don't want us to feel and know if that's true. They don't want us to know that, because then America will panic. So they have to keep making these things look like they random. You know what I mean? Because they have recorders inside of these jets and they could hear what's going on in there. Unless whatever hacking system or tactic that they're using, they done infiltrated that too. Ooh, this is big. Let me let him finish though, because I was wondering where he was going with that. They need to see what was going on in that aircraft. And like he said, this is crazy.
Captain Alvarado, this is your territory. You are a trained airline pilot yourself, a Marine at that. So the information you're sharing with us, some of this is new information to us tonight. I want to walk through this and as best we can so we can help our viewers understand what those codings and those directives meant and the way you heard it on the radio transmission from the tower to this Learjet. What is it that maybe got your attention about what didn't happen in the fashion that you think for pilots would know what should have taken place? What was that first thing that got your attention in the directive?
Well, the first thing that got my attention, as I mentioned, the pilots were given a air traffic control direction to turn after departure from runway.
But I think this is mechanical. I believe this is mechanical though. I don't think this is anything to do with direction. I think this is mechanical.
24. They were told to come to a heading of 290, a right turn westerly heading to the west. They didn't do that. And these type of turns will occur above typically 400 to 500 feet. Flying out of JFK, flying out of LAX, which I do a lot, Florida, many of these airports over the country. When I'm given a direction to turn after departure, typically after 400 feet or sooner, I am turning to that heading. And again, this is all in the name of safety, because these very busy airspaces, Philadelphia, New York, DC, they have a lot of aircraft coming and going. So it is very important, it's paramount that these pilots pay attention to the instructions given by air traffic control. So I would imagine these pilots, if everything was going fine, if there was no issues with the aircraft, they would have had to turn or would have turned by their own will to a westerly heading. So in other words, after departure, they would have made a right turn. They didn't do that. That's the first thing that stood out to me. And then 2 miles later, there's an impact near the Roosevelt Mall. So this is very concerning. Something was going on inside that aircraft. It could have been a control malfunction. It could have been anything and everything.
He's implying that those pilots didn't have control of that aircraft to make the turn. That's what I'm getting from it. Now it's making sense why he keeps saying the air traffic controller told him to turn. What he's saying is, typically in that situation, 99 times out of 100, when the air traffic control tell you to turn, they will turn. This aircraft didn't turn, then fell out of the sky. What he's inferring and implying is that something was going on, meaning, AKA, they lost control of that plane. When that plane got off the runway and started not incline. What do you call it? And started to get up in the air. It sounds to me like he's saying something happened to where the people didn't have the control of that plane. And I believe that for the helicopter too. This is crazy. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I got to go live at the dollhouse too, because I want to get into this press conference.
Captain, before we let you go, the checks that pilots need to go through, what are those steps like for this crew that was thinking they were going to have yet another flight mission, one that I'm sure they've done many times before? This is their profession. Walk us through that for a pilot, the checks, the things you're making sure are in place before you take off.
Well, if they were continuing on from another flight, they're doing a walk around of the aircraft or making sure that physically the exterior of the aircraft is in sound fit conditions. They're making sure that there's no fluids leaking. They're making sure all panels are tight. And then after the passengers are on board and the cabin is closed, the pilots are going through checklists. They're making sure that they're following all the procedures that is required to get this jet off of the ground safely.
Captain Ron Alvarado, Marine and pilot, thank you.
He said a lot without saying, he said a lot. He said a lot. What he's saying is something happened inside of that plane, in that cockpit, that we don't know about. And at the end of the day, listen, at the end of the day, we have to be very mindful of what we're dealing with here. We have to be extremely mindful of what we're dealing with. These things don't just happen out of nowhere. Okay? They just don't happen out of nowhere. Something is happening in these situations, and the coincidences of them all should have everybody's spidey senses tingling. You know what I'm saying? There was a girl on Twitter that says she works in aviation and she can't speak on what's going on behind the scenes, but she warned people not to fly until further notice. Man, look, hey, quiet as it's kept, I wouldn't be flying away either. I wouldn't be flying, right? I'm gonna just be honest with you. Everybody can do what they want to do, but for me, right, for now, I ain't trying to just jump on no plane. You know what I'm saying? For me, everybody can do what they want to do, but for me, it's a lot going on right now. It's a lot going on. Okay. Let me read some of these super chats before we get into this press conference. Oh yeah, I read this one already. Thank you again, Miss Parker. Bunny, thank you for the super chat. I definitely believe we're in a cyber war because food stamps been being taken off their cards from online. What? DFACS been getting complaints. What? I ain't heard about that. OMG, they stealing stamps off the people's cards. Oh my God. Child, blessings to the people, girl. Y'all better hurry up and get down to the store and spend all that shit. They stealing stamps, girl. Thank you, Bunny, for that. And Thea, thank you for the super chat. I believe y'all are under attack. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you, Anthea. Thank you. KB, thank you so much for the super chat. I emailed you a video of a pilot from Reagan National breakdown the crash using the audio from traffic control and showing it with actual. Okay, let me go check that out. Let me go get it. When you sent it to me. Let me see. I'll probably see it in here somewhere. I think this shoe right here. Talk about what's technical stuff going on with the aircraft. Hold on. Let's go get it. We outside. What's up? We already talking about it.
Okay, I want to start.
Is this the video you were talking about, KB? KB, is that the video right there? Okay, I think this is the video because that's the one I just pulled up. You said during the live. All right.
By saying that this title is not clickbait. When I said flights are grounded worldwide, we're going to talk about what's happening with Frontier Airlines and Belgium airspace. That's the US and another nation, because something is definitely happening right now in aviation, and I'm not seeing enough people talking about this, which is why I'm doing this broadcast. And so
he's on it already. Listen, even with the man talking about the man told him to turn, the flight, the air traffic control told him to turn. Nobody's talking about the mechanics of this whole thing. Nobody's talking about the aviation, which is the flying of this whole thing. Like, I don't understand. Not him. Well, which one you sent? Hold on, because he's cooking already.
This is not clickbait. This is a literal statement. We're going to go through the news and we're going to talk about it together, because in the past, military helicopter that collided midair with a commercial jet over DC. Now, is this a coincidence, or is something much bigger going on behind the scenes? I'm going to go ahead and break this down for you. I need you to do this real quick, though. If you haven't already, smash the thumbs up to get the word out there.
We'll come back to him because I can't do all the videos because I got to get off this live and go do another video. But I want to go to the one KB sent me. Hold on. Let's go to that video. This is an actual pilot. And he's talking about the Potomac one. Okay, hold on.
Here's what happened last night. I'm able to secure the actual audio from the incident over the Potomac last night. Let's listen in together.
79 contact Stone Park today. Okay. American 3130 for the final.
You're going to see a back and forth now between Reagan Tower and the various aircraft that they have lined up on approach into the airport. This happened at about 8:46 p.m. Last evening, and you can see there's several airplanes lined up. That's typical coming in about that time of night at Reagan. They're talking to American Airlines 3130, which I think is number 2 for the runway. They're telling them to slow down to their final approach speed because they're separating everybody on the way in. It's going to turn out that American 3130 is a key player in what happens here.
Well, American 3130. Pat 25, traffic just off the Wilson Bridge is CRJ.
Pat 25 is the helicopter that ran into the CRJ 700. It was a PSA flight. The flight number is 5342. It would go under the call sign Blue Streak.
Are y'all tracking this? Honestly, I really didn't want to get back into the Potomac thing. KB, can we catch this up on Monday? Or one of them other days? Because I want to stay to the Philadelphia thing right now, because even though I feel like he about to cook, we got to get into the press conference. I'm sorry. We got to get into the press conference, and I got to get off the live, and I got to go live at the dollhouse. We can get into it another day because I want to keep the subjects kind of like lined up so that we could, boom, boom, boom. But I do apologize. I will come back and get that though, KB, because I know he about to cook. I'm gonna watch him when I get off of here too. But look, let's get to some of these press conferences from what was happening, and what these people were saying. Check it out, y'all.
We're saying they had no audio. Okay, we'll just give it a few seconds.
Hold on, girl.
And it was at this.
This was today.
Let me just start by thanking you all for being here. Today is Saturday, February the 1st. I want to give you an overview of where we stand. This remains an ongoing investigation, so the situation remains fluid and active. Our Philadelphia Police Department, our Fire Department, Office of Emergency Management, first responders, with all of our local, state, and federal partners, they all worked through the night at this crash site. I want to personally give my deepest thanks to each of them and my gratitude for their persistence. At this point, we can confirm that there were 6 souls on board the plane that crashed on Cottman Avenue last evening. A pediatric patient, their mother, and a 4-person flight crew. This was a medical transport plane that took off from our nearby Northeast Philadelphia airport, and it was only afloat for a very short period of time before something went terribly wrong and it crashed. The aircraft, a Learjet 55, it was en route to Missouri, according to our Federal Aviation Administration. I want to be very clear that the city of Philadelphia, we mourn their loss, and they are in our thoughts and in our prayers. We can also confirm that at least one other person perished in this tragedy, and this individual was in a car. We can confirm that there are also a number of other victims who were injured in this incident, and they are being treated in area hospitals. And thus far, our count is that there are 19 injured victims. But again, this is not etched in stone. The investigation is ongoing. Investigators are poring over the crash site right now. Further updates will be provided as soon as they are available, but I want to be clear that we will find a cause for this tragedy. Let me give you an update on utilities, gas, electric, and cable. PECO, we know that there have been households impacted, and PECO is working to restore power. The same goes for PGW. They are working to restore service. Interruption, for which we've learned has been minimum, but they are working on it. Our other partners, like SEPTA, there are detours, and you should check for updates on their website at septa.org for alerts and other advisories. We are encouraging as many people as possible in the area to stay home if you can, because this is an active investigation. However, I do want to note that we have members of our police and fire and Office of Emergency Management on all of our blocks. No Philadelphian who is in the impacted area should have a problem moving to and from their home if necessary and they have to leave. Let me also state, and this is very important, our local, state, and federal partners, they are all working together as we work to address this tragedy. And I want to give a special thank you to Ralph Hicks, who is the senior air safety investigator for the NTSB. I just spoke with Ralph shortly. I know the director is on her way. She may be here by now, but I want to say a special thank you to them, along with the FAA. Our governor, who was with me last night here and continues to be right by our side, Governor Josh Shapiro, our Pennsylvania State Police, Pennsylvania Emergency Management, the Department of Environmental Protection, of course, our Philadelphia Police and Fire, Office of Emergency Management, Managing Director's Office, the American Red Cross for Southeastern Pennsylvania, our school district of Philadelphia, all of the agencies and officials, we are grateful for your support. I have to now recognize, and this is essential because, again, intergovernmental collaboration.
Girl, you giving a shout out. Where the governor at? This girl giving shout outs.
Assistance in working with our medical technicians and scientists. It has been extremely helpful, and we are grateful for your part. 100 Langdon Street here in Northeast Philadelphia. It is being operated by our Office of Emergency Management and the American Red Cross Southeastern Pennsylvania, and it is operating 24/7. The Red Cross disaster workers, they are there to assist anyone who's been displaced by this tragedy. Yes, people have already begun using the shelter, and we encourage anyone who needs assistance to take advantage of it. If you need to reach them directly, feel free to call 1-800-RED-CROSS. For this, we have them available through the powerful thing that you can do if you're home right now, 6440, or visit www.dbhids.org. Now, how to help others displaced or impacted by the tragedy. I happen to be a praying mayor, and I know that prayer works. And the most powerful thing that you can do if you're home right now, if you're anywhere across the nation or in the Commonwealth or the city, and you're saying, what can I do to help offer a prayer for our city? Now is the time that we need it. However, we know people want to help, and we are going to make formal, actionable ways available for you to assist. But we do ask you to please do not come to the site right now. Do not come to the site right now. It is still very much an active scene. No donations are needed at this time. No donations are needed at this time. If there is any formal structure, and this is extremely important, there is no GoFundMe established. Nothing has been established on social media to formally impact this. So if you are seeing that,
the scammer's gonna scam. That lady said they ain't got no GoFundMe. So if you see it, it ain't us.
To do their jobs, and that's what we want to make sure that we give them. So they're going to continue the investigation and efforts at the crash site, and it has to continue without working around the clock with all of our local, state, and federal partners on every might want to communicate immediately. We will not share any information with you that has not been cross-referenced through cross-sector collaboration, and that's extremely important. We will update the public and the press regularly throughout the day. Thank you all. God bless Philadelphia. And now is the time for us to demonstrate what our One Philly philosophy means. I now want to turn it over to our governor.
Ma'am, what she's saying is the information is going to come from them, and they're going to cross-reference. Girl, they trying to put the story together to give it to you. They trying to put the story together to give it to you. That's what this is all about. The governor about to come on here, but they trying to get in the back and get these people to get the story together and give it to you. Just out of curiosity, who down there in Philly? Is she a good mayor? Put it in the chat. I'm trying to see something. Is she a good mayor? Put it in the chat. Tiffany Willis, thank you for the super chat. Boo, thanks for always keeping us well informed. I enjoyed Educational Friday last night. Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of nice last night. I had fun. Thank you, Tiffany Willis. Love Wisdom, thank you for the super chat. Some of y'all were cutting up in class and it shows. Listen and learn, please. Girl, you better talk. Girl, people is crazy. You know what I mean? I understand how teachers feel sometimes. Girl. Thank you so much, Love Wisdom. Thank you, Titi, for the super chat. Thank you. She says, good morning, Boo. Thank you for talking about this topic and the visuals. These type of topics and discussions are hard but necessary. Keep up the good works, young lady. Thank you so much, Titi. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. True Beats Whole Channel, thank you for the super chat. Both crashes are connected to Chiefs winning the Super Bowl. I wonder how. Well, I would have to start thinking about that, but that's a good observation. Thank you so much. Cam, because I'm tired of mispronouncing your name. Thank you for the super chat. I know these Arabs was like, we just came from a war-torn country. Now this, not funny, but it is. Facts. Because you know they over there still cutting up. Thank you, Miss Keating, for the super chat. I pray for the people who had to witness that PTSD. Who you telling? Yes. And I pray for the people on the ground because they real mums the word about them folks on the ground. Thank you for the super chat, KB. Hackers can control our systems. It's hard to have air, sea, and land war. Only wars are bio, cyber, and kamikaze. Facts. Terrorist arrests since open borders. Let me tell you something. That's another thing. Most people, when they hear war, they think of hand-to-hand combat. We will not have those type of wars anymore. Not huge wars, at least. We have advanced our technology to where everything happens through technology. Now, it's not like back in the days where they went dropped a million troops off somewhere and they all fought it out. This is a different type of war we're dealing with. You're right. Thank you, KB. Simone, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. And Darnell, thank you for the super chat. Hey, boo, interesting you say we're under attack, in which I believe the Black Hawk War was in 1832 against American Eagle, hence American Airlines slaughtering indigenous people. Wow. 5342 when it was added up equals 14, as well as 1832. 5,342 when it's added up equals 14. See, you into the numerology. That stuff be going over my head. I gotta start getting into numerology. I know like the regular stuff. You said when it's added up equals 14 as well as 1832. We're gonna have to have a discussion about that. Because that numerology stuff, you know, I'm scared of numbers, child. But yeah, we're gonna have to Gabe said, I was just saying this. Wow. That's crazy work. Let me tell y'all something too. Y'all do know the clears are on a time clock. So it wouldn't surprise me if other countries say it's time to us to, they over there rubbing hands like Birdmans. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let's get into a little bit of what the governor has to say.
Governor who's been here.
Of a strong and steady mayor in Sherelle Parker. And I want to say thank you to the mayor for her leadership. Leadership matters in moments of crisis, and demonstrated here by Sherelle Parker, our mayor. I also want to reaffirm what the mayor said about everybody working together with common purpose. There are no silos or stovepipes. Instead, it is everyone joining forces together. I want to lift up those state resources that have been here in Northeast Philadelphia working around the clock. And I want to thank the mayor for referencing them at the request of Commissioner Bethel, your outstanding police commissioner, Colonel Christopher Parris of the Pennsylvania State Police, who joins me here to the left of the mayor, has dispatched roughly 50 members of the Pennsylvania State Police from Troops K and M, and we thank them for their work here. PEMA, the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Authority, has been on the ground since last night under leadership of Director Randy Padfield, who slept here last night to work together with Director Teal and the other leaders here in the city, has made sure that the city of Philadelphia has all of the resources they need. PEMA and the Pennsylvania State Police are no stranger to tragedies, and we will bring our expertise to support the work happening here locally on the ground. As I mentioned last.
Yo, the fact that y'all putting in all this stuff in the chat that I didn't know nothing about is crazy. Insane. Yes, something is definitely up. Something ain't right. Something is definitely up. Child, I don't know. I found that pilot dude talking about the Philly aircraft. Look.
Talk in this video about what I think happened in the airplane outside of Northeast Philly, the Learjet that went down just last night, and how incredibly rare it is to have two back-to-back major accidents like this. But let's take a look at what happened last night in Philadelphia.
Medevac, mid-service 056, on departure, turn right heading 290, runway 24, clear for takeoff, wind 25010.
So the situation here is it's a medevac flight. It's a Lear jet, Lear 55. It's a very nice jet. And it's going from Northeast Philadelphia, an airport I know a great deal about. I flew all the time in my military days out of Willow Grove. I was there for about a dozen years, and that's right in the vicinity of Northeast Philadelphia. They fly a lot of these medevac flights to various places around the world even, but this one's going to Springfield, Illinois. They take off a runway 24. About 60 seconds later, they crash, and there's lots of conjecture about why that happened. I'll tell you in a minute what I think happened. Again, remember, this is just my conjecture about it.
Right.
There's going to be a whole forensic redo of this whole flight, and that will be the details that come out in the days, weeks, and months to come. But let's take a look at what we know so far.
Sorry. I hope this man don't strike me down to the ground. Fair use.
Med service 056, contact Philly departure 123.8.
123.8, Mike Tango Sierra 056 medevac. Thank you. Good day.
Okay, let me stop it right there. So this is a routine departure out of any airport. It can take place anywhere around the world. And medevac takes off, and as soon as they're airborne, they're 400 or 500 feet above the ground when they get handed off to departure control. And so they're given a frequency. What I want you to key into here is the voice of the co-pilot who's talking on the radios. It's completely calm. It's completely normal. It's completely routine. Nothing's going on just yet on this airplane. And I can get that from listening to the tone in the voice. And
also, he complied. He said he would comply with turning right. When the man said turn right, however they say it, he said basically copy, thank you, have a good day. So the fact that the plane didn't turn tells me that the pilot didn't have control of that aircraft.
remember, in aviation, there are three priorities, and they go in this order: aviate, navigate, communicate, in that order. So the first thing is make sure you fly the airplane. That's the aviate part. Keep the airplane, the blue side up, as we say in aviation. Navigate is the next thing. Where are you headed? Where are you going, right? That was an impact in the Reagan incident just at the beginning of the week. And then communicate. That's the third of your priorities. It's not the top of the list. And what's going to happen here is you don't hear another word from these guys. It was absolutely routine when they got handed off, and something happens immediately that causes this airplane to crash. And I'll give you my thoughts on that in just a second.
Med service 056 Philadelphia. Med service 056 Philadelphia.
So Philadelphia is expecting the handoff from this medevac flight, and they don't hear anything from them. They never.
That's the same thing happened in DC. Remember, they say the air traffic control kept trying to get in contact with the pilot, the helicopter pilot, and they wouldn't hear nothing back. He called them like 3-4 times. This the same thing happened with this jet in Philly. That sounds like some hack. That sounds like a hack. That sounds like they hacked it to where they have lost communication with air traffic control, with the towers. That sounds like a hack in the system. Because he was just talking to him. They handed him off to another section to steer him out. And then all of a sudden you can't hear nothing back. Coincidence? Sure. This is crazy.
Checked in. Something was going on in that cockpit that was preoccupying them, that from the time they got the handoff from tower to dialing the frequency and talking to Philadelphia, they were busy. They're probably doing a checklist. They're trying to handle whatever emergency it is that is now developed, and it developed that fast. Philadelphia is going to call them a couple of times. Tower's going to try him next.
Medevac med service 056 Northeast Tower. Contact Philly 123.8.
This is absolutely normal. They'll go back and forth between the tower and Philadelphia. You see over on the side of your screen here a schematic of the actual video of what's happening to this airplane. I want you to note the steep angle that the airplane is flying at before it impacts the ground.
It looked like that plane.
Med service 056 Philly. Medevac med service Northeast Tower.
So they're going to continue to call this airplane. They've already crashed. They're never going to respond. And this is a tragedy. And again, we watch this and our hearts just go out to the people on board that airplane and the people on the ground as well. So what happened here? Well, we don't know a whole lot. And again, in the long run, we're going to find out the details. There's a couple of things that take place here. And I'm looking at the angle of the airplane as it hits the ground. That steep angle doesn't happen. The pilots can't create that. This isn't a matter of the pilot pushed over the airplane. It would be very hard to create that steep an angle from that altitude. Most likely this airplane stalled. And now what's a stall? A stall is not like in your car where the engine just stops running. A stall in an airplane is when the wing, the flow of air over the wing is disrupted. It stops flowing properly. And then that wing loses lift. Typically when that happens, and again, there are several critical phases of flight. The most critical is the takeoff phase of flight. Why is that? You're the heaviest you're ever going to be. You've got your power pushed all the way up and you're going slow. You're going to accelerate as you get up to altitude. You're going to reconfigure the airplane by bringing the landing gear up, retracting the flaps and those sort of things. So the airplane becomes even more aerodynamic. So at this point, they're at the most, what we would call in aviation, most critical phase of flight. And something happens to disrupt the lift over the wings. That's my conjecture on this. At that point, the nose of the airplane, which is kind of up like this, is going to drop steeply. It's going to fall through. One of the wings is going to stop creating lift and the airplane's going to either go on its back or the nose is going to come sharply down. And that's where you get that steep angle now that you see on the screen where they impacted the ground. Now, if you're up at altitude and that happens, you have altitude to lose to recover because the air will start flowing back over that wing as the nose drops through. When you're this close to the ground, there's no time to recover. And that's what happened to these folks, I think. Why would the airplane stall? One of two possible big reasons. One is the center of gravity on the airplane was off. Maybe it was way.
Let me say this too. I noticed a trend of the people who are coming on to explain this stuff are always focusing on outside entities. Okay. And let me say this because listen, what he's saying is true. It could have been the engine, the plane stalled, you know what I'm saying? Which causes it. Yes, the nose will go down. Yes, one of the wings. Yes, he's not lying about what he's saying. But I think that nobody is acting like any other thing could be happening as well. Does that make sense? Because with this whole situation, this plane literally loses communication before it fell, and he's attributing that to, oh, well, they could have been busy trying to figure out the emergency, and that's possible. You know what I'm saying? That's very, very possible. Let's really be clear. So it's not like he's just on here talking crazy. The man know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Hell, he know more than me. I ain't no damn pilot. But I'm saying that there could be other entities that could have caused these planes to do, and I get that too, Miss Higgins. Yes, they can't say too much. They can't. Y'all saw what happened to the doctors when they were coming out saying the absolute truth in 2020. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember when the doctors, because think about it, there were doctors, they got rid of them real fast. They banned them from social media. They hurry up and tagging them as misinformation, and they hurry up and got them up out of here. You couldn't even find them. You couldn't find them nowhere on social media. When the doctors were coming out, the ones who were saying, hey, this ain't that and that ain't this, immediately they were taken clean, smooth up off the internet. They lost jobs. They lost all types of stuff. Now, put that in perspective into what's happening now. We have a lot of experts speaking out, but they're speaking toward the narrative that the media would like to be painted. Does that make sense? Oh, it could have been a mechanical issue. It could have been the stalling of the air. Nobody is speaking outside of the line, if that makes sense. If these are independent thoughts, this is just me, it would have came out more or less like the 2020 situation. But again, people have PTSD and are afraid to come out like the doctors in 2020. Because they got fired, they got accosted, they got all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is why I be picking through media. I don't, you know what I'm saying, just take one video and be like, that's what it is, you know what I'm saying? Because I understand how social media is manipulated, and the people and the things that they put on here is manipulated as well. Even though I think this man is giving a great take on what's happening, I really do. I just feel like nobody's thinking outside of that box that they got put in. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of crazy to me. But let him finish, because he's really cooking right now. Hold on.
Way too far in the back, and it caused the nose to pitch up, which would create a disruption in the lift over the wing. The air is not flowing smoothly over the wing, or they lost an engine or two and they lost all their thrust. Let's put it that way. They lost enough thrust that the airplane stalled and the nose fell through.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point now, we're not going to get anything else from Philadelphia or anybody else. I do want you to look a couple times at the angle of this flight, and I want you to understand that this airplane didn't get airborne for more than about 60 seconds. When we look at its flight path, it comes straight off of runway 24. It's climbing out straight ahead, as it would have been cleared to do. At the very end of this video that we just watched, there's a little veer to the left before they impact the ground, and that would be characteristic also of a stall. The left wing was the one that probably dipped down first. The nose fell through, and the airplane went just slightly off to the left. I'm grabbing a lot from just a bit of the video here. But again, it's very sad. Now, what does this have to do with the accident outside of Reagan? Well, the two most critical phases of flight, obviously, are taking off and landing. Now, where the two incidents are really totally different is that there's a lot to look at in the DCA accident. The regional jet was in a very tight airspace. They were cleared to land. The airspace in front of them, behind them, and on both sides of them belongs to that commercial jet. The helicopter was talking to the tower. They accepted visual separation rules from the tower. They said they had the airplane in sight. And my conjecture on that video was they were looking at the wrong airplane. They thought they had visual separation on the airplane. The only problem was it wasn't the airplane the tower was talking about. That's human error. Again, we're going to find out.
I don't believe that, y'all. I don't believe that. Y'all remember that video I had showed y'all where that aircraft would almost hit 3 planes before it hit the last one? That completely contradicts that theory. But okay.
Out in the weeks and months ahead, what actually happened, but I think that played a huge factor in it. In this one, we simply don't know. All we know is that the co-pilot had a completely normal voice, and from the time he got handed that frequency,
that helicopter ran into that plane on purpose. I don't care what nobody say. That helicopter went straight to that plane. I get what this man's saying. You see what I'm saying? But no, it ain't, oh, I thought it was this one, but there was another one and they just didn't have. That helicopter went straight to that plane. Yes, on purpose, Lex. Yes, on purpose, without a doubt. So I shout out to the man because he cooking. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying nobody's thinking outside. Everybody coloring within the line. See, that's why media, like regular folk, is needed because everybody coloring in the line. You see what I'm saying? But he's giving good information as well too.
To start talking to departure control, something happened, and it happened quickly. It happened so quickly that the airplane stalled, in my opinion, and then just did that nosedive down into the ground. Now, the question that's going to come back to all of us is this: is it safe to fly? And I've been inundated with emails and texts over the last few days. Captain Steve, tell us it's safe to fly. And the answer is absolutely yes, it's safe to fly. Look, I want you to put this in perspective. Every day, all around the world, there are tens of thousands of departures, takeoffs, and landings all around the world. That goes on day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. The last time there was a major airline accident in this country, in the US, with fatalities was over a dozen years ago. I can't even remember the last time there was a mid-air collision like there was at DCA this week. It's been decades since that has happened. And there have been millions of flight events that have gone on in between that. The problem is when two accidents take place so close to each other, boy, it really makes us nervous. And I understand that, folks. I get that. You're asking me, is it safe to get on an airplane? Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm about to get on an airplane tomorrow. I'm going to fly from Charlotte Douglas International Airport all the way over to London, and I'm going to bring 300 of my best friends with me. It's absolutely safe to get in an airplane.
Cap. Let me say this. Don't get me wrong. This is not happening to huge aircraft. It's not happening to large commercial aircraft. It's not happening to, you know what I mean? It's giving small jet T's. I'm just looking at the pattern of this stuff, right? According to the stuff that's been going on out here in these streets with these aircraft, a lot of this stuff is happening to smaller aircraft. The American Airlines was a smaller charter jet. The this plane right here was a small aircraft. So for pattern purposes, I would say that most or a lot of commercial aircraft, larger aircraft, it doesn't look like per the pattern that's what, you know what I mean? That's happening to the other ones, right? To the big jets. But could it be that those things could possibly be warnings with the smaller ones? Because think about it. Because remember, this is a conspiracy time. If in fact there are systems being hacked, do you understand that if there's an outside entity attacking systems, they can do that in mass at one time? Does that make sense? Like, and I'm just giving off of what could happen. I'm not saying it, meaning like they could hack. He said tens of thousands of planes go out in the air, take off and land every day. Out of the tens of thousands, a large significant number of those planes could get hacked at the same time. This is not a scare tactic. I'm just thinking, okay, yeah, it is per pattern. It doesn't look like it's happening to large commercial aircraft. But if we are being attacked, hell, that could happen to like 11 planes all at one time, and then they all start falling. Or a large number of them start falling. Which that not only affects the people on the plane, but it affects the people on the ground. And these things are happening in large cities. Okay? So I'm just looking at the coincidence of it all, and it's super scary for me. Again, I'm not telling nobody don't fly. If you gotta fly, go fly, child. I'm just saying for me, for right now, I'm just gonna chill. Plus, I ain't had nowhere to go anyway. I didn't plan on going nowhere, no way. So it's easy for me to say, but some people gotta go, they gotta do what they gotta do. But I'm just saying for me, it's too much going on. I just want to chill and see what's going on, if it makes sense. There's a lot going on. And I didn't see the one in Alaska, y'all. Y'all know Alaska is a state. Thank you to Don for the super chat. Another plane crashed on the 29th in Alaska. I have the video on Twitter. You see the plane losing control. Man, I'm going to go check it out. I haven't seen it yet, but I think somebody mentioned it last night. Oh, not last night. Yesterday morning when we did the live. I'm going to have to go check it out. Thank you so much, Dadon. I'm going to go look at that because ain't nobody talking about that one because we forget Alaska is a state. It's an American territory, if not a state. But I thought it was one of the states, huh? I just heard about Alaska being one of the states. Is Alaska a state or is it like American territory? So either way, it would fall under the umbrella of America. My Twitter name is, hold on, what's my Twitter name? My Twitter name is the Dollhouse. No. Child, hold on. Send it to me, Fat. My Twitter name is Voodoo Doll TV. Voodoo Doll TV at Voodoo Doll TV 1. Thank you so much, Dadon. At Voodoo Doll TV 1 if you want to do the at. Truth Be Told channel, thank you for the super chat. Vu is Jamatra, and the numbers connect to Mahomes Chiefs. It's all connected. I made a post on Facebook about it and may do a live tomorrow. Yo, I need to check that out because I don't know much about numerology. I just know the little tidbits, but it wouldn't listen. A lot of these things come with sacrifice, and that's another theory people haven't come up with too. Could this be an inverted attack? Could this be us attacking us? My prayers go out to everybody involved, bro. That's all I got to say. I have to get off of here, y'all, because I absolutely have to prepare. I want to do a messy live at the dollhouse in about 30 minutes. So you guys, please like the video if you haven't already. Shout out to everybody in the building, everybody who sent the super chat. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you're returning, welcome back. Tracy, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you, my love. I have to jump off so I can prepare this messy live down at the dollhouse. Y'all know we Swiss Army knives over here. We come over here and talk about conspiracy theories, then we about to go to the dollhouse and be messy, okay? If you're new to the channel, like I said, subscribe, like the video. Shout out to everybody in the chat. And also, yeah, I'll see y'all in about 30 minutes. I got to joke y'all up out of here. Peace.
Can you hear me now? Oh, let's go. It's your boy Big Chew, the voice of the beat. You know what I want? Blaze up. Come on, blaze up.
It's the beat for me.
Wow, 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live. For your boy, for your boy, hustle for your boy, fix it for your boy, drop it for your, lift it up.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.